Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Today I want to talk about Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. I want to speak about his level of prophecy and how he is the highest prophet. His level of prophecy far surpasses the prophecy of anyone else. For that reason, Moshe is called the prophet of prophets. And his prophecy obviously was the highest level of prophecy. Nobody afterwards reached a level of such a profound level of prophecy that Moses reached. And the Mashiach himself, his level of prophecy will actually be just under that of Moses's. So Moses' level of prophecy will even surpass that of Mashiach's. Mashiach is obviously the closest to Moses. By far, his level of prophecy is the only person that will be that close to Moses' level of prophecy. And obviously, it's different what will take place with Mashiach and to compare Mashiach and Moses, because the whole era of the Messianic era will be a much greater level of godly revelation than any other era before it. So obviously, it's hard to compare, but that is what the sages have brought down to us. And obviously, eventually, in the resurrection of the dead, it will be a revelation of God, unlike any other era. So in a way, it will surpass anything that ever took place. But just in pure prophecy, Moses is the highest level, reached the highest level of prophecy. So why did Moses, what's so powerful about this? What are the details of this? So first of all, Moses was able to reach a level of prophecy while still awake. The other prophets, they weren't able to reach prophecy while awake. They would drift off into a dozing off, or a drifting off to another state of consciousness. They would not be awake. They would not be fully active. Their bodies wouldn't be active and moving. They would drift off into a state of prophecy, and they would have a vision. But Moses would be able to reach a level of prophecy while completely awake. And also Moses reached a level of prophecy at any time he wanted. He could access this zone. He could talk to Hashem. It's as if the analogy, with all the other prophets, Hashem it was only a one-way phone where Hashem could only call them. Whereas with Moses had the ability to call back, meaning he could, when he wills it, he could access this prophetic state of reality. And it's so much so that it's called face to face. Moses is the only person who spoke to Hashem face to face. Obviously, it's not to be taken literally, as Hashem is not a physical body. Hashem is beyond infinite. But so to speak, panim also is bifnim. That Moses was able to reach a much higher level of prophecy, where it's related to face in the sense where he was awake. Hashem spoke to him in a much more direct way. Whereas with other prophets, it could be that an angel spoke to the other prophets, or even if it was Hashem, it was in a vision. Through a vision, Hashem showed them a vision of something that they then understood what Hashem was trying to relay to them. But with Moses, it was Hashem speaking himself. It was a much more clear, crisp, much deeper level of prophecy, with a much more direct revelation of Hashem himself, rather than a vision or an angel. It was Hashem himself. So the reason for this is because Moshe's body was so refined that with the average person, a person has a godly soul and an animal soul. And the animal soul covers up the soul, and it could get in the way of our soul and its connection to our wonderful Creator. But with Moses, his body itself was so refined that it didn't in any way go against the soul, but rather it was completely subservient to the soul. So the body itself was like an extension of the soul, a garment for the soul. So for that reason, Moses' body was so refined that he didn't have to fall asleep and drift out of his body to have this vision, or his body was able to handle it too. That's why he could be awake. And also, an example of this is at Mount Sinai. When Hashem, all the Jewish people, we asked Hashem, please reveal yourself to all of us, not just through Moses, speak to us directly. And so for the first 2 commandments, Hashem spoke directly to the Jewish people and said them. This was so overwhelming to everyone that after each of these 2 commandments, the Jewish people's souls left the body because the bodies couldn't handle this revelation that the soul was released from the body. And then Hashem, after each one of them, put them back into the bodies. After they died, and Hashem put them back into their body. Except for Moses. For Moses, his soul didn't leave the body because he was used to this. This was obviously a great revelation to Moses as well, but it wasn't too much for him to handle. He was able to withstand this revelation, and in fact, it was pleasurable to him, I'm sure. And so this is another example of the body, that when a person's body isn't refined enough, a revelation of God is too overwhelming. But when a person, through the Torah and mitzvahs, what do the Torah and mitzvahs do? They allow us to refine ourselves enough to handle God's presence. And this was at the giving of the Torah. But then, in the ultimate days of redemption, that's where things are a little bit different. Since now we have the Torah and mitzvahs, now we are able to refine the body. When you put on tefillin, that refines the body. The body becomes holy because the body itself is doing a mitzvah. When you give tzedakah, your hand becomes holy. Your brain, because your brain decides to give the tzedakah, and your hand puts the tzedakah into the box. Your body's becoming holy. You shake the lulav. You eat the matzah. You learn Torah. Your mouth that's speaking the words of Torah is becoming holy. So through following God's commandments, through following the Torah, our bodies then become holy. And then in the ultimate coming of Mashiach and the ultimate redemption, it's going to include Hashem revealing Himself to the entire world. Hashem's going to shine, let His light completely shine, His revelation fill the entire world. And our bodies will not expire. Our souls will not be released from the bodies. Our bodies will not be too overwhelmed. But because we followed Hashem's commandments, our bodies will be refined as well. And we will be able to reach a level of godly revelation whilst still in our bodies. That is the highest level of pleasure. And that is what Hashem has in store for us, God willing, today. And so this is, I think, a topic that hopefully people found interesting, because I always find it interesting to learn about Moses and his level of prophecy compared to other level of prophets, the idea of prophecy in general, and how it says that in the days of Mashiach, even children will prophesy. Children will prophesy in the days of Mashiach. A simple child will be a higher level than a Talmid Chacham before the days of Mashiach. He'll reach a higher level of godly revelation. So, thank you so much. God bless you. Like I said, this should be today that we experience this. And if also, of course, if you're not Jewish, you're a righteous Gentile. By you fulfilling the 7 laws of Noah, which were also given to Moses at Sinai, you also play a part in bringing the redemption. You play a necessary, needed, required role in bringing about the redemption. And you too will get to enjoy this messianic era that has been promised to us. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Please like this video, subscribe, and comment on it. It helps me, helps my videos get more traffic, get more views. And by you commenting, by you liking, you are giving other people the opportunity to learn about Torah, and you're doing a huge mitzvah and bringing God a lot of pleasure. Thank you so much. God bless you.